I know I've talked about the McAuliffe Northern Parole Board, and we've both seen fronthand of how the Democrats, how they botched the Inspector General's report. But I just think it'd be illustrative for you and I both believe in accountability and transparency in government. I just think it'd be good for the listeners to realize and hear a little bit of just what exactly happened with this parole board and how they are investigating the Inspector General instead of investigating the parole board breaking the law. And I just want to get your thoughts on that, sir.
And I appreciate it. Jason did a great job on the floor of the House sort of exposing this. And what's basically happened was that Terry McAuliffe, and once again, this is why I say we have so much to run against Terry McAuliffe on. Terry McAuliffe fired Bob McDonald's head of the parole board with the admonition basically to speed up parole. And boy, did they do that. The head of the parole board basically, and this is really key, did not notify witnesses that were obviously victims' family members who would give very emotional testimony. They're turned off their notifications. They openly advocated within the parole board to make sure that they were not notified. Probably the worst case was Vincent Martin, who was a murderer who they let go, who in Richmond robbed a 7-Eleven early one morning, was driving the wrong way on a one-way street after already been convicted 5 years earlier of a crime. Stopped by a young 23-year-old police officer, Michael Connor. Didn't know about the robbery. He asked him to get out of the car. He does. He shoots him and then stands over top of him and shoots him executioner style 3 more times. That's the kind of people they're letting out. And to Jason's point, when the Inspector General investigated them and basically said, you're not following the law, the Northern administration puts down a amendment to investigate the Office of Inspector General, not investigate the parole board. And we find out yesterday that Nixon Peabody of Massachusetts is going to do that investigation of only the Inspector General. It's a Democratic firm that basically gave 89% to Democrats, and the lead lawyer has worked for Democrats. So you can guess the result we're going to get on that. And so I have said very clearly, and I think Jason takes the same viewpoint, that we'll fire the parole board the very, very first day in office. And remember, governors have over 200 boards and commissions that they appoint. And so you can really affect change very quickly. But that parole board, to me, is a symbol of what the Democrats are doing.
But wouldn't it be a fact? Isn't it fact? Isn't it demonstrably true? You can prove as facts that the parole board did not follow their own guidelines.
They did not follow their own guidelines, and that's very, very important. I mean, the head of the parole board said, I felt giddy with power. I could wave my magic wand and basically release who I wanted to. And you saw very much that. You saw openly advocating within that parole board for releasing a lot of the people that I pointed out. And so you couldn't be more right. We need a very thorough investigation. Todd Gilbert, our minority leader, has called for a special session to look into the parole board. And the Democrats aren't going to do any of that. This one-party Democrat control is they feel bulletproof. They don't ever challenge the governor on anything that's been done. And this is the McAuliffe Northern Parole Board. So it'll be a huge issue in this campaign for public safety.
Well, Delegate Cox, the law firm you mentioned, Nixon Peabody, is based in New York. And what I found amusing, and perhaps you will too, is the Attorney General's office said they looked out of state because Virginia connections might raise questions about objectivity. We wouldn't want that, now, would we?
No, we certainly wouldn't want that. And like I said, people should be furious over this. I mean, there has been, there's a recording recently that came out of the Northern administration that basically they were berating the IG's office for even doing this investigation. And so it's just been, just horrific, frankly.
Yeah, I know.
So we need leadership at the top of this administration that will basically give Virginia what they deserve.